Hi everybody, it's Stewart A. Swerdlow.
And Janet Swerdlow.
And we are back from our trip to New York, and this is the Expansions podcast from mid-July 2015.
Did you get beat up in New York?
Well, you want me to tell them the truth? Janet and I had a knife fight, and she stabbed me twice in the face. I had to cover it up. Okay, so I actually had sun damage removed from my face and other parts of my body, and so I'm in a little bit of discomfort, and I covered this up so you would not see my disfigurement. That okay? Okay.
That's not a very exciting story.
No, but she did beat me up.
No, I thought that it's better being beat up while you were in New York.
Well, you was talking to me?
Yeah.
You just want to have a fight outside? Let's go outside.
Right.
Yeah, that's what happened. I stopped the car in the middle of the road and beat up truck drivers because they were in my way. We are never driving to the East Coast again. The roads are horrible.
Crazy.
The weather was tornadoes and blah blah blah. We had to drive through, and the truckers. I'm sorry, all truckers who are listening, but you need to be in a mental institution. Anyway, let's go to the news, and I don't have a lot right now, but afterwards I'm going to do some questions, and Janet will do her news. Okay, so first thing, we're going to go to outer space, because you know I like it there. And the news said that they had a close-up from the New Horizons spacecraft of the Pluto moon called Charon, which I thought was Chiron, but they said it's Charon.
They've changed it then.
They keep changing things. Maybe there's 2 moons. I don't know. There's 5 altogether, though. Anyway, guess what? They found in Pluto a massive depression or pit with a mountain rising from its center. Kind of like a pineal gland archetype. And according to Jeff Moore of NASA, the Ames Research Center, he says, the most intriguing feature is a large mountain sitting in a moat. I think there might be a
castle.
The Queen is up there with a yeah.
I think there's a castle.
And he said, this is a feature that has geologists stunned and stumped.
I keep saying that with every discovery.
They need to, because you know why? Because of this, they're getting you ready for the staged alien invasion. And it also goes on to say that on the surface, it turned out to be a lot smoother than scientists expected. And that's because Pluto's artificial, which I've been telling you for years. It's in the Kuiper Belt object, and it is an artificial object. They also said that Pluto has 5 moons. Now listen to me. Pluto is like the size of the United States, you know, and a ball, right? Very small. And how can an object that small attract 5 moons?
I guess they're little tiny moons.
Well, they're not so. Some are almost the size of Pluto.
Yeah, but maybe they're the size of like Long Island or something.
Well, the thing is, it is not possible for a natural object to attract 5 moons of that size. So another clue. And then they said there are fewer craters on both Pluto and Charon, suggesting that the dwarf planet and its moon have younger surfaces than scientists expected. And what did I tell you? I said it's only been there since 1930. So yeah, it's relatively young. And guess what?
What?
They said it will take 16 months for all the data to reach Earth. You know why? That gives them time to change it and manipulate it before they tell anybody. And also, I didn't have it in our links because it happened just this morning, but they also discovered a large plume of gases behind Pluto.
Really?
Kind of like a propulsion system. Jets out the back.
I think you better find that link and get that posted.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the link in here. Do you hear angelic music?
I do. I wonder where it's coming from.
It's like, I think it's a message from Pluto.
It must be.
Yes. Anyway, let's go back to Earth. And guess what happened in Australia?
What?
Well, we know they're kind of upside down anyway at the bottom of the planet. But a deep freeze that has not been seen in New South Wales for 20 years has caused havoc on the roads, closed schools and services, and put Sydney commuters through one of their coldest mornings on record.
And I have on my
that sounds like global warming.
I have on my Facebook a little tiny kangaroo in a field.
Yeah, was he frozen to the ground?
Yeah, it was all full of snow.
His poor little pouch was probably full of ice.
Yeah, it was all full of snow.
Yeah. So apparently, the temperatures in Sydney dropped to -1 centigrade, which is unheard of in Sydney. And they said it's the coldest for the city since hourly wind chill readings began in the 1990s. So that's the coldest reading ever. And further west of Sydney, snow caused problems. More than 40 schools in the Blue Mountains and Southern Highlands had to be closed because of snow. 9,500 homes were without electricity. And meteorologist Don White from Weather Watch said snowfalls from Bathurst to Queensland in recent days has been the most widespread in 20 years. That sounds like global warming also. Now, they said up to 10 centimeters of snow, which is like about 5 inches, blanketed Bathurst and famous Mount Panorama. And guess this, listen to this. It's the most that they have seen there since the 1980s. And this is the key. These events used to happen a lot from the 1920s to the 1950s, but in the past 30 years, it's only been 1 or 2. So that means the weather's going back to old patterns as it goes back into cold weather.
Yeah, I have a climate change story as well. I don't know if I could find it.
Well, while you're looking for that, I will take a sip of my dad cup.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I found mine. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, what I was reading was that now the sun, they're saying, has an irregular heartbeat.
Like me.
And the irregular heartbeat means that there could be a future freeze.
Mm.
They say that this indicates that Earth's northern hemisphere could experience a deep freeze in 15 years.
Gee, where have you heard that before?
Now, it also says that apparently their scientists' findings could mean a deep freeze like the one Great Britain experienced around 1900 when the Thames River froze over.
Thames.
Thames?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the CNN meteorologist Brandon Miller says the study looks intriguing, but it has not been peer-reviewed or subjected to the scrutiny of the larger scientific community.
Who will destroy the information and say it's not true, and then 15 years when we're all under ice, like, oh, maybe it was right.
It is a very complicated issue. Does the sun have a role in our variable climate? Yes. Is it the dominant role? No. Even the concept of the sun being responsible for Europe's mini ice age, it's not hard and fast true. But yet they're still telling people in
that
15
the northern
years,
hemisphere will be frozen over, and I've told you that
yeah.
a long time
So
ago.
anyway, I thought that was very interesting. So it
And
said,
now it's official news.
Right, and it
so what
says-
happened to global warming?
well, it says it doesn't mean that climate change isn't still happening.
Oh, right.
So just
Well, there is climate change, but it's not global warming.
Well, that's why they had to move it from global warming to climate
Right.
change, and the next thing will be, guess what?
Right, and then they'll make it so that, oh yeah, we said that all along.
Yeah. Now, also, because we were gone to New York last week, we didn't do the news, but I have a couple of stories I wanted to bring out.
Okay.
Because, for one thing, the head of the civil rights group, we were having all those Confederate flag issues.
Right.
They were saying now that Confederate symbols are treason and should not be in public spaces.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of like Germany's law with the Nazi flag and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I thought that part was interesting. Of course, I don't know if they had a vote yet whether or not they were going to take...
The flag's gone.
It's gone. Okay, well, that's what I thought. Although the governor at the time thought the voters should decide, but it's gone.
But you know what happened?
What?
In front of a courthouse in South Carolina, the Ku Klux Klan had a big rally. And guess what? I told you. Civil War, South Carolina, courthouse, all coming true.
Well, what I think is interesting is that the reason I'm bringing this story back up is because I think there's something going on with flags. And that's what I want.
Yeah, false flags. False flag.
That's right. So there's a false flag. Okay, first of all, we have the Confederate. Now, the next false flag we have was the U.S. Air Force allowing a rainbow-striped U.S. flag to fly at an Arizona base.
They did allow it.
They allowed it. And apparently, let's see, this is the Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Tucson, Arizona, was flying a rainbow-striped American flag, and so somebody complained it violated Title IV of the U.S. Code. Apparently, former senior airman Brian Colfudge said he was driving through the base when he saw this flag flying. He brought it to the attention of the military reviewed it, and they said that it's acceptable. Now, Mr. Colfudge is enraged because he says that Title IV states that the American flag, quote, shall be 13 horizontal stripes, alternate red and white, and the union of the flag shall be 48 stars, white in a blue field.
Shouldn't it be 50?
Apparently not. That's what he said.
There's 50 states.
Well, that's just what he's telling you.
He's wrong.
Well, he's quoting it, apparently. He said the parody of the American flag had 50 white stars in the Union, smeared with rainbow colors as the stripes. The moment the flag took on the Union stars is where it became a violation with my understanding of the U.S. Code. So write that, those stars as an issue. apparently then,
Or maybe 2 states are going to disappear.
oh, I don't know.
Well, I think that's
Possible.
part of your news too, isn't it?
It could be. So then, because they're allowing this type of a flag to fly, he says, I hope every airman around the globe reads this and busts out their flags, whether they be a big Christian cross, Santa Claus, Gadsden, medical marijuana, rebel, NASCAR, pink unicorns, or whatever they feel they represent. He said, when the Air Force instructs you to take it down, refer to this article and then contact me and I'll personally ensure your rights are not infringed upon.
So he wants to have flags with weird things on it?
Because he's trying to get people to, this is the point of the article, he's trying to get people to see that this is no longer being accepted as the American flag.
Well, there is no more America.
Well, this is my point. So as you're talking about false flags, there are more and more flag type
So
of
not
articles.
even the Confederate flag is gone now, the American flag
Right.
is gone.
And even remember after 9/11, everybody was encouraged to fly the flag, and you saw in people's cars and houses, and people flew flags everywhere. So I think when we're talking about programming and triggering, that false flag is going to continue to grow.
Right.
So watch for flags and let us know if you see them and we're missing them. And then while we were gone, there were police that were hunting for a burglar who stole Pope John Paul II's blood from Lamont Church. And the reason I'm bringing this up again is, blood worship, which I think is totally asinine. And then speaking of the Pope, and of course, you know, it's one of my favorite topics. There's a big thing going around the internet now about the Pope talking about how people should not have guns. And so,
how about the ones guarding him?
Well, that's right. The ones guarding him always carry guns. But he says, quote, "It makes me think of people, managers, businessmen who call themselves Christian and they manufacture weapons. That leads to a bit of distrust, doesn't it?"
Oh, what about the papal armies over the last centuries?
Well, there's more, and which I have reported on before, but I'm going to get to that. A year ago, he warned that human traffickers, slave traders, and weapons makers would have to answer to God on their judgment day. He was particularly harsh toward weapons makers and dealers, alleging they are not interested in the Word of God because, quote, they fabricate death, they are merchants of death, and make death into a trade.
Let's remember the Inquisition, Mr. Pope.
In Turin, my people, he suggested that gun dealers, gun makers, and by extension gun owners are not even Christian. Now, this is what I reported on a year or so ago, and I'm going to quote from the article. Very few people know that Pietro Beretta Arms Factory Limited, which is the largest arms industry in the world, is controlled by the holding SBA Beretta, and the majority shareholder of the Beretta Holding SBA is a private institution founded in 1942 by Pope Pius XII and headquartered in Vatican City.
What a hypocrite. That Pope is a hypocrite.
And I have reported on this before.
Brilliant.
Because I have shown pictures in the news of the Popemen, whatever they're called, in their uniforms, holding the guns and inspecting them. That's been in the news.
And we know what the Jesuits are too. That's the army of the Vatican.
But I find this interesting that, again, they continue bringing up gun control. They continue
so
bringing
we're the only ones that can own land, have guns, and have money.
And the Bill of Rights. And again, we're going to watch for what the Pope is going to be saying September 23rd in his address to the United Nations.
Oh, I'll just be getting back.
Which is supposed to be directly following the September 21 Shemitah, as we talked about.
September 13th.
Oh, is it? No, I thought it was the 21st.
No, it's 13th. I come back on the 21st.
Okay, well, September 13th. It's in our pay-per-view webinar of prophecy, which I notice a lot of people now are watching.
Right.
So there's a lot of information.
I have that in my questions.
Okay, you have a lot of information there. All right, then moving along to one of your favorite subjects, which is earthquakes.
Oh, yes.
They're now saying that...
We've had them here.
We have. But the geographers are giving advice to people on how to detect earthquakes in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, everything starts shaking.
It says you have to escape on foot because the roads will liquefy and the dogs will start barking. They said the Cascadia Megathrust fault line is 1,000 kilometers long from California to Canada. It will clash with the 700 square mile plate in the Pacific Ocean, causing tsunamis. But this is the crazy thing. Because we have been telling you, so if you're there when this happens, remember, we have told you. Well, all along that Pacific
Oh, yeah.
plate. We have been telling you for years to be mindful because, and if you can't move.
Now, like
Anyway,
yesterday.
they're just telling you this again. They're telling you the only way to escape is on foot, to start running.
Where are you going to run?
Listen to my last line. Citizens will have 20 minutes to walk or run to higher ground.
Yeah. So you're in Seattle,
Right.
and you have 20 minutes to get to the mountain. That's probably
There's no
going to
place to
explode with
run.
volcano eruption
There's
anyway.
no place to run.
So how stupid is that?
There is no place you can run in 20 minutes
No.
or even walk. And if you're
First of all, if the earth is shaking, you can't run.
right, and if you're an older person, you have disabilities, you have children, you have pets, it's going to be a problem. So, if you can relocate, I suggest
But
relocate.
you know what else they said? Are you going to tell them what else they said?
Well, you go ahead.
Well, everything west of I-5 is going to be toast.
Yeah, but then
That's
they said,
the words
they said
they used.
13,000 people are going to lose their lives. If that's the case, there's a lot more than 13,000 people in that area.
Plus, they said after the earthquake, then the tsunami is going to wash over everything.
right.
And they said everything, Seattle and Portland will be obliterated.
So anyway, like we've been telling you about, you've got to take care of
And it could
yourself.
be any moment, people. So, listen, I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to be there right now. Get the heck out right now.
All right, then the next thing, which again I think is totally asinine. New York expands yes means yes policy to private colleges. This is now, private colleges and universities have a new sexual consent policy after Governor Andrew Cuomo signed the measure into law to combat campus sexual violence.
Wait a minute. So, yes never used to mean yes. It used to mean something else.
It used to say no means no. They're saying yes means yes. Again,
That's brilliant.
confusion. We talked about this on the last podcast. If they can't control you, they confuse you. If they can control you, they're going to confuse you. This is, again, asinine.
Oh, it's about the Pope again.
Maybe that's it. And the thing is you know what? We cannot legislate morality. I'm sorry. So anyway, but they're calling this just like a major happening in the world. And it's a tipping point, said Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, she's lovely.
Thank you, New York, for setting an example. I think it's stupid.
She's a B-I-T-C-H.
Okay, so now going on with biblical things, there is now a new project at the JFK International Airport.
Oh, I always pass through there.
To make things smoother for pets. It's going to be called the Ark.
Isn't that interesting?
Very interesting. Apparently, they're going to build a 178,000 square foot animal cargo facility. It's going to cost $48 million, will create 180 jobs, and generate $108 million in revenue over its 30-year span.
People at JFK Authority, how about making it easy for the freaking passengers because it's a zoo for us?
Yeah. Well, anyway, so again, back to the biblical activity of Ark. So anyway, they're wondering if other
I hate when I have to go through JFK.
airports are going to follow suit. Now, this one is about Kale.
Not that LAX is any better.
This is about Kale. Because, every once in a while they're promoting, these foods, and I always say that everybody jumps on the bandwagon. And I'm not a big proponent of kale.
I like kale.
You can like it, but
Kale to kale.
they are talking about, people just eat it like,
Well, it is not healthy to have too much of it.
That's right, because it has,
Kyolic acid.
yes, oxalic acid.
Oxalic.
And that can build up and create kidney stones and other kinds of issues. But now they're saying that it also is pulling out heavy metals out of the soil.
Oh. Is that good or bad?
Well, then you're eating all the heavy
Oh.
metals, and then it's affecting your body.
That's right.
So they're saying there's traces of nickel, lead, cadmium, aluminum, and arsenic are common in all grains, and along with cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, and collard
So
greens.
take that, vegetarians.
Also, thallium and, I don't even know this one, cesium?
Cesium, that's radioactive.
Okay, so anyway, you have to be careful, like with everything. Just don't overdo it. People don't realize you can turn yellow from eating too much vitamin A from carrots and pumpkins, and squash, yellow squash. So be careful. Then there's another story that I thought was very interesting about what's coming up for the future. International Talent Support Competition brought 40 people together in Italy, and they were vying for prizes totaling 100,000 euros. So it was very prestigious, and what they were showing was masks made with cable wires, and they were showing women with, of course, slit down to the navel. What's the one thing we haven't seen yet, and I've been telling you you're going to see? Now you're going to show the women's nipples.
Oh.
Free the nipple. Remember I talked to you about that campaign. So now that's the next thing that's going to happen. So and remember I told you it used to be illegal for men to show their nipples.
It was?
Yeah, I told you that story. Clark Gable was the first one who did it in one of his films, and you asked me what film it was.
I don't give a damn.
But I said I didn't research the film. So he was the first male. Now they're moving on to female. So that's going to be next. And then this was interesting. Cupping therapy.
I heard about that.
This was.
That's what you did to my face.
That was it. Justin Bieber was showing his back because he had undergone cupping therapy.
He's so smart, right? I'd do anything he said to do, right?
Yeah. So anyway, I went to research it because his back is all bruised and looks disgusting. Okay, what is this?
The rest of them.
Apparently, it's an old therapy dating back to Egyptian, Chinese, and Middle Eastern cultures.
And where are they now?
And so apparently, this is how it's done. There's dry cupping,
Do not do this at home.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, under that category. Dry cupping, which is suction only, and wet cupping, which is a combination of suction, and listen to this, controlled medicinal bleeding.
Out of their minds.
More blood stuff.
Why don't they just paint their parts with gold like those?
Yeah, those other people did.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, again, I don't know if this is a true thing or something they wrote and put in it.
I've heard of it a long time
Did
ago.
you?
It's not... It ruptures blood vessels.
Yeah, it says...
It's not good.
During both types of cupping, a flammable substance, such as alcohol, herbs, or paper, is placed in a cup and set on fire.
Brilliant.
As the fire goes out, this is still brilliant, the cup is placed upside down on the patient's skin. As the air inside the cup cools, it creates a vacuum.
Yeah, which is already in their head.
This causes the skin to rise and redden as blood vessels expand.
I'd like to just pinch yourself.
The cup is generally left in place for 5 to 10 minutes. So anyway,
morons.
I think it's silly. It said that the potential side effects are mild discomfort,
you think?
burns, bruises, and skin.
Oh, you think so?
And skin infection.
Gee, how unusual.
So why would you want to do this to
put
yourself?
a flaming cup on my skin for 10 minutes, and I wouldn't expect to get that.
Yeah, so this apparently is a new thing. So a new old thing.
I mean, people are out of their minds.
So don't do this at home.
No.
I really
don't do it anywhere.
Don't do it anywhere. And now this was also interesting to me because, and then you'll have to say this name, is from Denmark.
Oh, Rothschild. It's Rothschild. Rothschild.
Festival. This is called PISS for Pilsner. They're wanting the attendees of this festival to up to 100,000 to donate their urine to make beer. Now that's...
And then they do cupping with it.
Maybe. But the interesting thing is, again, it's just, it's kind of, again, an asinine thing because...
Urine beer?
That's what you would think. So you have to read the article. All they want you to do is to urinate or defecate in the field so the farmers can turn it over into their barley crop for fertilizer, which is silly because this is what people have done for like centuries. But they're making it sound like it's a new thing. And then they're talking about, then after they make the beer from the barley, then next year you can drink this beer that you have fertilized.
I see.
So it's really... roundabout, again, putting things in the public's mind.
So instead of beer, it's like peer.
Yeah. And it says that in 2013, the French design group Faltazi turned bales of hay into public urinals. So people would urinate on that, then they put the bales of hay, of straw, because it was straw, into the, hay. Put that into the fields and fertilize with it. So that's what they used to do for centuries.
That's why you have a cesspool.
Yeah. But listen, then they had a poll, which again is... not even correct. It says, would you drink beer made out of urine?
My answer, no.
Yes or no?
No.
Okay. But this is what they're putting out for people to put it in their head because there are sexual proclivities where people do this kind of thing.
So they could have beer made from urine, have a fecal transplant, and then eat some bugs.
Yeah. Crazy. And after that, to listen to this one, there's a Florida man who was arrested for having sex with an alligator.
Bite me.
They said that this man kept a 12-foot alligator tied...
Oh, wait a minute. It's my first wife.
That's not nice.
I know.
A 12-foot alligator tied and blindfolded and sexually assaulted him multiple times a day. Apparently there was a man who was walking by... This is what they're claiming. Who knows if it even happened. Who was walking by and the mouth was taped and the arms were lashed behind its back, and the man
So
was
he raped an alligator.
several times a day.
So, that's dragonfly programming. Read about dragonfly programming in my books, Sex with Reptilians.
Yeah, and it's, again, to me it's imprinting. Like I said, who knows if it even happened?
Even the idea of it, to someone write about it, is sick.
Yeah, it's sick, obviously. Then there were sex toys dangling from Portland power lines, and no one knows why. Hundreds of sex toys, apparently.
Well, they'll be coming down soon when the earthquake hits.
Specifically, large white and orange dildos strung in pairs, and they don't know where it came from.
I'm too young to hear these things.
And they said that they didn't believe the rubber products posed a fire hazard. It's like...
Well, not unless you use them.
The thing that I want to remind people of is, if you haven't seen that movie Focus, that is really good because it shows how you're looking here and they do something else there. And the interesting thing, the very last scam, which was really good, was the imprinting and how they got people to do what they wanted them to do because of all the subliminal imprinting that had gone on around them. So if you haven't seen that movie Focus, I suggest it because it's good. No, but I'd like for you to see that. And now this is another good one. This is Live Science, and excuse me, but because I talk a lot about health, you need to hear this. It explains that you should defecate daily, and they're saying...
what an idea.
That isn't true. It cites gastroenterologists, so this is like your, really supposedly well-educated
Right, because you know how smart they are.
Right, who say 3 times a week is okay. And it says, and they say, well, or 3 times a day. What matters is consistency. Whatever you do is what you should do.
In other words, whatever's normal for you.
Point being is babies go every time they eat. They eat, they poop, they eat, they poop. That's how you toilet train them, right? So 3 times a week is not normal. Once a day isn't even normal, even though most people will say that.
What if you have sex with an alligator?
And really, if you eat, you need to poop. And so this is what makes you sick, is if you have a buildup of fecal matter in your body without releasing it, because it seeps into your cells, it ages, it destroys you, and it makes you sick. So of course they're going to tell you 3 times a week is okay. They want to keep you sick. So don't listen.
Didn't you once have one that said 1 time a week was okay?
I heard a doctor that had said that, but 3 times is as bad. I mean, out of 7 days, you only go 3 times. Unless you're not eating anything, like on a fast, you're not going to...
You're eating the wrong things and it's clogged up in there. You need colonics.
But that's going to make you sick. That's my problem, or my point. And then the pharmaceutical companies who train the gastroenterologists are going to make a lot of money off of you because you're going to be very sick. And this one I just came across today, and again, this one is very, very odd. This is a Mexican singer, Patricia Navidad.
It's Christmas. Her name is Patricia Christmas.
So that's programming. 42-year-old star was performing the song Viva Mexico.
Long live Mexico.
When suddenly her sanitary pad slipped out beneath her blue dress and fell onto the ground. But instead of running off the stage screaming, which would be a reasonable option,
I would imagine the audience would run out screaming.
She continued her flawless performing like a boss while her pad just lay on the ground.
Was she not wearing clothing?
Well, this is my point. There was no, I'm just going to be graphic here because we're talking about blood. There was no blood. I looked at it. There was no blood on the pad.
So she did on purpose.
There was no blood running down her legs.
She did on purpose, then.
She had a dress that was so short that you could
no
wear like
underwear,
a top.
obviously.
It's all very odd.
No, she did on purpose.
This is also interesting at the end of it. The article says, since pad in Spanish roughly translates to sanitary towel, Navidad, which means Christmas, compared herself to a boxer who will never throw in the towel. So I think there's more programming triggering going on here.
You think?
And
combine that with what Trump is saying about Mexico.
What's he saying?
Well, that they're corrupt and we shouldn't go there and all those terrible things.
Well, again, it's more creating friction between people. So anyway, a very odd news this week, but I think it's going to continue to get.
Oh, so now I get to do my questions.
You get to do your questions.
Well, remember last time I told you to send in 1 question. Now, people are not listening.
Well, I told them to send in more than
People are
1.
sending in like stories that have no questions and have nothing to do with anything here. So, people, please don't send me your life story or what happened to your,
sometimes they're
great
interesting.
aunt in
Sometimes things are interesting. Don't listen to him.
But just if it's a question, yes, I'm not going to read the stories. I'm not. Anyway.
I might.
Go ahead, but we're running out of time here. Okay.
You are.
From Sweden, which, by the way, when we were in New York, I had family from Sweden that came to visit, and that was nice. They were all Vikings, redhead Vikings.
Read the question.
Okay. Yes, dear. So, from Sweden. My question concerns the financial meltdown in Greece. Will the US or EU really just let the Greeks go back to the drachma and say screw you to the ECB? It seems to me the Greek people are very much aware about the whole banking scheme that is run by the Illuminati. Thank you. Well, the answer is no. They're not ever going back to the drachma. That would be a disaster for Greece and the EU. So yes, the Greeks know that everything is being manipulated, but they know that Germany and the UK are manipulating their currency and the situation. They're just using Greece as an example to promote a coming global currency towards the end of 2016, which I believe will be called the Phoenix. They may change the name, but it's based on the Phoenix, so we should see some event in Phoenix next year as well. Anyway, no, not going back to the drachma, and it's a preparation for a global currency. Greece is just being used as an example.
And that was from Marcus in Sweden,
Well,
correct?
we just say Sweden, we don't say names, and
No,
we don't say
just
permission.
a first name. Just a first name. Because there are a billion Marcuses, but this Marcus will know who he is.
Yeah, and he's a good guy, this Marcus. Anyway, next one is from Julio, but we don't know what country he's from.
So how can we say then?
Well, we just say he's Julio.
From planet Earth.
From maybe not.
Is it Earth? Well, that's
maybe
true.
not.
He could be
I
from
don't know.
outer space.
He
We
could
don't
be from
know.
the inner Earth even.
That's true.
Anyway, his question is, the Shemitah, reality or fantasy, fact or fiction? The wrath of God, or just another cover for the central banksters to loot, pillage, steal, and consolidate yet more power?
There should be a writer. He's very good.
I know, for Julio, Maybe it's Julio Iglesias.
Maybe. And that's why he did
On a
put
global scale and pin the rap on God. Well, Julio, listen to me very carefully. Please watch our webinar that you just mentioned on prophecy, which explains all of this. And bottom line is the Shemitah is a fact, but it is being manipulated by the Illuminati.
which we explain in the prophecy
Which
webinar.
I explain all of that. Next one is from France.
Do we have a name?
Yes, it's Yone. Yone from France.
No, that's the last name. So now you can't
Now I
say
can't say the rest
first
of it.
name.
I would have to erase your memories. That's because
That's because you just have to write a secret code
this
in
person
your beard.
put their...
Now I know why you have the Band-Aid. It's a
that's-
secret code.
Yes.
It's a trigger.
And I have other words carved into my beard, but don't even
I
say
helped you
anything.
with that earlier, but we
I
won't
know
tell them that.
And that's when you slashed my face with the razor blade.
Now you've told the whole
Anyway,
story. Stop.
back to me.
What's
We're running
all
out of
about you?
time.
We're not. We have plenty of
From
time.
France.
We
From
always
France.
have plenty of time.
Here, this person sent in 2 questions. First one
Is
is
that allowed?
not really, but I'm going to do it.
Uh-oh.
I was wondering what the agenda of famous people in Hollywood who are handlers and know what they are doing. Well,
We talk about that all
yes.
the time.
The agenda in Hollywood is to create global icons for people to imitate and to divert their attention and to create a new culture for the New World Order based on what they have the icons do. That's. I've
Very
talked about
succinct.
this before.
Very succinct.
Now, personal question to
Uh-oh.
us. Did Stewart and or Janet have gone through the Petra code, which is in the computer of the mind? I talk about that in the books. I can only answer for myself. Yes, I did, and it's still ongoing.
I don't know what the Petra code
It's
is.
the stone wall, Petra stone, that surrounds the computer of the mind, so that you can't access it and change your programming.
No.
I talk about that, but there's also a Petra wall around the original mind, your core personality. So yes, I'm working on all of that. You don't think I'm there yet, but I'm close.
No.
I made holes in the wall. Have you gone there? So obviously you haven't.
I do my own
Yeah.
deprogramming work.
Yeah. So those are the questions for this week.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Like I said, I'm not going to read all those paragraphs of stories that people send people. One question, please, to
No.
the point.
well, we'll see. Anyway, what I want to show you is I want to show you the Radionics Box. That because we have the Radionics workshop that's coming up very soon. It's so beautiful. And we just got this one. This is one that we are going to be doing treatments for you on. What did I do? Did I lock it? Yep, I did.
Be
So-
careful with that machine.
Yeah, I want to show you what's inside. These are just extra crystals that we have. You can see how beautiful this machine has been wired and done. You can store
It's
everything
beautiful.
in apps, and the energy coming off this is
And
magnificent.
there's a Greek guy that did it. He's Greek.
We're not going to tell them that.
And he make it the lamb. He
Then
make
you
it the
take
lamb.
the 2 quartz crystals and you put them in here. Go down there, Mr. Quartz Crystal. It's supposed to go all the way down. And
Well,
then,
maybe something blocking it.
I didn't want to,
Be careful, don't break it. Let me see.
it's got to go in.
Maybe it's the wrong crystal.
We'll figure it out later. We just got this, so we're very excited about it.
Yeah, I
Then,
love it.
we have the double pointed amethysts that go in here. This. And then we have a pyramid, which goes here. And we have 2 silver bezels. I'll take this one out till we figure out what's going on down underneath.
Something in the way there.
Yeah. Anyway, so we have the 2 bezels that go on top, and these are the witnesses. So, like if you want to put your picture, or your pet's picture, or your house, or something, here on one side, and then whatever you want to send to it,
Sending.
you put on this plate. Like for example, we use a lot of our healing archetypes, so it could be overall healing,
Template, it
your
could
shock
be a
balancing,
color,
your chakra system,
word,
anything, and then you adjust these dials. These are the things we're
which
going
I'm
to
going to teach you
you
how to do at the seminar.
Yeah, so you adjust the dials so that all of this is in no electric cords.
Nothing
Everything
electric.
is energetic and
All
frequency.
energetic.
We're going to teach you then how to transfer the frequency from what you want to send to yourself or to wherever. So anyway, these are
That's the most beautiful box I've seen.
it's fascinating.
Great job, Mr. Greek person.
Yeah, he does a fabulous job.
Are we allowed to say his name?
No, you're not. The copper coils are like 99% pure. The silver bezels are 99% pure. He gets the best sources of the amethysts and the transmitters. So anyway, just beautiful, beautiful work. So that is going to be mid-August. And if you want one, he's making these boxes specifically for you. Also, we have a smaller version.
Yeah, but you know, there's not much time left to
That's
make,
what
so
I've
you
been-
need to sign up right now if you come in.
That's
There's not that much space left anyway.
Right, because if we don't have you in time, we can't make a box, and you can come without a box, but it's going to be a lot more fun.
Then you'll
if
just
you
be
get a
sitting and
box.
looking at everybody doing their work.
Right, and wishing that you had a box. So, anyway, really amazing work. So, with that said, we have coming up here
Yes,
in just
yeah.
a couple of days, we have our webinar on Green Star programming. We have people already signing up for that. That one's filling fast.
Yeah, a lot of people on that one.
And then in August, we have Montauk and Interdimensional Existences, or Realities. Can't sure which one it's called. It's the same. That's going to be in August, culminating August 12th on Montauk Day.
Wow, that's exciting.
So that one's going to be exciting.
And then I have my trip.
Then you have your trip to Europe.
Well, it's more than Europe.
Where is it?
Well, London,
That's
Karpacz, Poland,
Europe.
Trier in Luxembourg,
Europe.
Istanbul, Amman, no, that's the
Middle East.
and Qatar,
Middle East.
which is the Persian Gulf.
Okay. Then you come back.
Then I come back
Oh.
briefly.
You know what? Did we announce our exciting thing for October? Well, we have so many exciting things
Well,
happening.
my
in
next
October.
grandchild will be born the first week
That's
in
very
October, so I'll be
exciting.
going back to the East Coast.
Yes, but then when we at our October annual conference, we have not only the 2 of us, we have Mary Sutherland from
Oh, right.
Burlington, Wisconsin, who's an amazing researcher.
Other red-haired giants,
Yeah, so
which is
she,
my Swedish family.
yeah, so she has some very interesting information and some artifacts that she's going to show for the very first time. Steve Spirason is going to talk about the Mary Magdalene lineage and its relationship to Isis. That should be
Ooh.
fascinating.
I think so.
And we just heard that Christopher Garetano, producer-director of Montauk Chronicles, will be making a special presentation there.
Okay.
And he will be showing the Montauk Chronicles movie during our lunch hour. We're going to have a long lunch hour, so you're going to be watching the Montauk Chronicles movie
And eating at the same time.
with Stewart and me and Mary and Steve and Christopher.
Whoa.
And then there will be a panel afterwards for just the Montauk movie, and then later on in the conference there will be a panel for all of the presenters.
And Christopher's planning a sequel, you know.
Well, I don't know if he wants that told yet.
No.
Step by step. So anyway, but if you haven't signed up for October, that one is also filling fast, so you need to get that
Right.
done
So-
as well.
And then I leave again.
Then you leave again. Do you want to tell where you're going
This
there?
time I'm going to Poland, Germany, Singapore, and Indonesia.
Okay. And then we have in January our Hyperspace Oversoul Extravaganza Week, January 2016. That one always fills up. That one always has great people, and this is where we get really intense with you and teach you like everything you want to know that's going to get you through for a long time. So,
yeah. And then what's after that?
Well, after that, if you successfully pass, then you will be eligible, most likely, to apply for our Oversoul Mastermind group.
That's not what's after that.
What's after that?
Your birthday.
Well, this is before, because at the end of the class, I'm
Well,
going to
after the
allow them
class.
to apply if they've done the other things that are required, because we do have other requirements besides this class, but this class is only offered once a year. So if you want to join Oversoul Mastermind group and you haven't taken this class, this is a prerequisite for that. You
And we
must
only
do
take
it.
Applications that time.
Yes, only once a year.
That's it.
So we will be opening up after this class, and talk to Patricia because she has the entire list of requirements to join that group.
Right,
Okay.
right. Oh, and just since you mentioned that, there have been a lot of people asking for consultations before and after the October conference. And because I will be in the East Coast the beginning of October for the next grandchild and leaving right after the conference, there really isn't a lot of time available. So you need to book right away because people are being disappointed that
Yeah, and I
there's no
think
time.
a couple of people have been asking for days with Stewart around
Yeah,
that.
but I don't know if I have
to,
time.
Well, you're going to have to check with Patricia because she's in charge of the scheduling customer support at expansions.com.
So you better do it right now, people.
If you want to get on the schedule, because after that, we're pretty well starting to schedule the days with Stewart into 2016 already. So,
Right. And,
we have anything else?
well, just a reminder, if you're going to send in your questions, they're very good. Just please send one question to the point. I don't want your life story.
I thought they're supposed to send it to you or me.
Well, how do they send it in?
Oh, customer support at expansions.com.
Right.
Yeah. We didn't tell Patricia, but we're just making you send it
Well,
there.
she knows now.
Oh, she does?
Well, she sent me these.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought we were going to make her answer them.
She could.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
please,
that it?
people. Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
That's it. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.